Well, hey, good morning. Wanted to give you a state of the market update because I know there's a lot of information in the media right now. There's a lot of speculation in the media right now. And the national news is not always the news for your local area. So this is going to be specific to Riverside County. And so let's just jump into what's happening in the market right now. So, are we in a recession? I think that's the big question on everybody's mind. A recession is defined as having 6 months straight of GDP decline. Now, we do not have 6 months straight of GDP decline right now, and that's a good thing. However, we might. We have a quarter, the first quarter, we were definitely down by 1.4%. I think most households could tell you that they felt that. We're feeling it in recession, right? Not recession, pardon me. We're feeling that in inflation. Inflation definitely continues to be a major issue. Now, the economy shrank, and what Gary Keller is telling agents across the country is watch the Treasury yield curve. The Treasury yield is investment basically in the government, and when we look at that, we're going to see that the yield curve is beginning to invert. Now, whenever we begin to see an inversion in the Treasury yield curve, that is an indicator that, yes, we are looking pretty recession-y. So if you'll notice on the chart, you're going to see right here towards the end, it is spiking downwards after what would be pretty consistent upward growth with a little bit of flattening out and now heading south pretty quickly. So we're going to keep our eye on that, continue to watch that. But are we in a recession? No one can say for sure yet because we're still in the early stages of the second quarter. However, everything does seem to be pointing to that. And remember, we will only declare a recession officially after the fact. So, are we in a recession? I would act like we are, just based on the Treasury yield curve right there, as you can see. So, what does that mean for the real estate market? Well, these are March numbers, and I'm showing you the March numbers here in May because I'm going to contrast them with the April numbers, which we are just getting a sense of. Now, in March 2022 in Southern California, we saw that year-to-date or year-over-year sales were down 7.5%, and year-to-date we were down 9%. So existing home sales are coming down. If you've been active in the real estate industry, you know that. Supply is not growing, it's actually tightening. That's important to note. Now we'll take a look at what's continuing to happen, but just to say that that was March. Now let's take a look and see what's going on here. This is Riverside County's numbers as of April 1st. And what you're going to see is that, yes, we are continuing to see decline in April. In fact, March went up a little bit from February, and that's normal seasonally. Seasonally, we're always going to see a little bit of a climb from February into March, and typically that continues to grow into the spring and what we would call the selling season of summer, right? Take a look at this chart. That curve upwards that we would normally expect to see seasonally didn't happen. In fact, sales declined in April, and that would be unexpected. So what we're seeing is that the market is not growing, it's retracting in a sense. Now that doesn't mean prices are going down. In fact, what that means is prices continue to rise. We'll see that on the charts in just a second, but because there's less transactions happening. Supply and demand is always going to be the law of economics. And so, yes, while interest rates are going up, yes, while we're in a recession, that's all very true. Demand is still outpacing supply. And what that's showing us is that there are less sales, but demand is still very high. So here's some supply conditions again in March. Now, in March, this is from the California Association of Realtors. Southern California is showing a 3.9% increase in listings in March. And if you would have asked me anecdotally, what does that mean for Southern California or for the Riverside market? I would have said that based on what I'm seeing in my real estate office, and I have 200 of the top agents in Southern California working with me here, that supply is going up across the board because I'm seeing listings tick up. So that would have been my supposition. And based on historic trends, it would be a safe bet because we always see supply go up in the summer. However, we didn't see supply go up. In fact, supply went down. If you're looking at the numbers here, supply went down from 22,127 homes listed in Riverside County to 21,979 homes listed. Now, it's not a huge drop, but it isn't an increase. We dropped 148 homes available for purchase on the market just between March and April. And why is that important? Because because it's not following the seasonal trend. Instead of pushing forward, we've gone backwards a little bit. Now that's important because if you're talking to sellers or you're thinking about selling your home and you're hearing all this news on the networks about interest rates are going up and affordability is a problem, these are all true things. But supply and demand is always going to be the law of economics. Supply and demand, right? And right now, supply is low, demand is high, and so prices continue to increase. Let's take a look at the next slide. So here's another slide I want to talk about because anecdotally, you may be hearing that there are price reductions in the market. This is March of 2022. We will see that Riverside County is still selling about 70% of homes are selling above asking price. Now, that is an absolute seller's market. About 70% of homes selling above asking price. Now, that's an interesting chart. That's March. What does that mean? That narrative of price reductions is absolutely something that's out there. And if you have a drive-by agent who's looking at the market on a day-by-day basis, just taking a snapshot but not watching trends, they're probably going to tell you we have to price more aggressively because there's a lot of price reductions. Prices are going down. Take a look at the chart here. What you're going to see is that's true. There are a lot of price reductions. In fact, the trend is that we see more homes having price reductions than not, right? We're starting to see that. Original price versus sale price, and sale price is consistently lower than original price. But take a look at the chart again. What's the trend in overall price? It's not that price reductions are bringing the market down. It's that the market is pricing ahead of the sales price, but as a rule or as a trend, prices are going up. Throw away May because we don't have hardly any data there, but prices are absolutely going up. So are there price reductions? Yeah, there's definitely price reductions. Are prices going down? No, absolutely not. Sales price is up month over month. So don't fall into a false narrative. Just because we see little red arrows on the MLS or Zillow is showing you price reduction doesn't mean prices are going down. If you're on the fence about buying, guess what? Interest rates are still low, historically speaking. Prices are still going up, right? And so affordability, we'll see in a second, is going down. Now, again, this is days to sell versus list price. What you're going to see here, and this is year to date in the Riverside County area, that we were in January at 16 days to sell. And that makes sense. That's a trend we normally see seasonally. Houses take longer to sell in the winter, but that has come down significantly. So now that we're about 9 days to sell on average in the Riverside County area. Now, if you're waiting and expecting the market to grind or it's crashing or any of those things you might be hearing, because in some markets, there is softening. In some markets, there is a little adjustment. I've heard up to 45 days on the market in some areas of the country. This is our area. This is Riverside County. Riverside County, we're seeing 9 days on the market. And let's also look at the other trend line, the orange trend line. Guess what? Prices are not coming down. Now, they're not screaming up year to date, but they've climbed significantly, right? And so if prices are climbing significantly, days on market are going down, and interest rates are going up, what does that say for affordability? Well, it's going to say that affordability is going down quickly. In fact, there's a 27.8% growth in mortgage payment, right? That means that while homes are going up 11.9%, this is March, affordability went up, or affordability got further away for a lot of buyers by about 27%. That's March, right? We know since March, rates have continued to climb. We just saw another increase. On average, I think they're 5.42. We'll go over that in a second. However, 5.42 on average is not every buyer, right? Some buyers don't have excellent credit. I don't know if this is news to you. So their rates are going to be even higher. Affordability is going to be even further away. And so just keeping our eye on that's really important. Like I said, mortgage rates, national average 5.24%. That was a little earlier this week. The Fed was meeting this week to announce another increase, and they've announced a 0.5 point increase. That's a historic increase, right? We haven't seen that in a very long time. And Gary Keller, once again, he's sort of the Steve Jobs of real estate, says that we are going to look at 8% by the end of the year. And I think he's right, because we know that inflation is about 8% right now. in order to get ahead of inflation, typically rates have to rise to a point where they are higher than the inflation rate. So don't expect rates to come down. I've heard this from some of my agents. They've got buyers on the fence saying, well, I think rates are going to come down. I don't know why you think that. There's no reason to think that. There's no reason to think we will ever get to where we were before. What you can do now, the best thing you can do now if you're trying to buy is lock in your rate as soon as possible. That's my advice. That's what I'm advising my clients based on what's happening in the Fed, based on what's happening in the economy. Lock in that rate as soon as possible because you saw the affordability. That's 100% interest rate driven. All right. So keep your eyes on that. And like I said, 8% by the end of the year would not be unrealistic. Where is this going to end? Nobody has a crystal ball, but I would think we're going to be up towards 10 by the time we're done with this current run up. 8%, by the way, is the historic average for interest rates. So is that really high? No, actually, it's average. Okay. So what are my takeaways here, folks? And this is where I think we get to the important bits. We are not in a market crash. Southern California is not in a softening market. We're not in a crash. We're not in an adjustment. Will we be? Maybe. But right now, there are no signs of a drop. Supply and demand still rules. It's the law of that is the economic law. Supply is low. Nationally, we're about 1 million homes underbuilt. Will we slow down? It's possible. 64% of the people who said they were going to sell said they were going to sell over the summer. But right now, we're not seeing it. Any price reductions that we are seeing in the market are being balanced by the increase in overall sales price. So prices, far from dropping, are continuing to rise, and buyers are losing power quickly. So if you've got people on the fence, you need to know that if you think about buying, don't wait. Your mortgage payment is going up in relation to the sales price. So if you're a real estate agent and you're looking to grow your business, what's the fastest way to open an escrow? Get a listing. The fastest way to get an escrow in this business right now is get a listing, because a house will sell because there just aren't enough houses to sell. Consumers, that's really good news for you, because if you've been thinking it's time to cash out, move into a smaller home, take some money, put it into long-term investments, relocate to another state, whatever, all of the reasons people move, now is a great time to sell. It's a fantastic time to sell. And in fact, if I was considering leaving California, which I don't want you to do, although sometimes it is crazy town here, I would be taking my money, or considering looking around the country at markets that are seeing softening and taking my money somewhere there, buying something, keeping some of that money out, putting it in long-term investments as a hedge against inflation, as a hedge of what's happening. Other key takeaways. This is for the real estate agents out there watching. 41% of consumers find their agent via referral. So what does that mean? It means if people like you and they say to their friends, hey, we're looking for a realtor, and people like you, they'll say, hey, you should use my friend. He's a good guy or girl, depending on who you are. 77% of sellers will only talk to one agent. Again, that emphasizes why it's important to be in conversation with the people in your life. Do they know you sell real estate and sell it at a high level? If they don't, then they're probably going to talk to one other person, right? And if you want to have a fantastic business, and you absolutely can, markets like this are where careers are made. You need to be the agent who is getting the opportunity to take the listing. So 41% of consumers will get their agent through referral. 70% will only talk to one person. You need to be that one person. So what does that tell us is the most important thing for realtors at this moment? Be in conversation with your database. Be in relationship with people. Have a rich, full life. Don't just call people and say, hey, do you want to buy or sell a home? Call and say, hey, how are you doing? What's going on? Be the kind of person that you admire. Just do that at scale. So, hey, guys, those are my key takeaways. That's your market of the moment. You got any questions, you can reach out to me. You can find me at riversiderealestatesuccess.com. It's riversiderealestatesuccess.com. You can find my online videos with top producers there. You can also sign up for a free business consultation. I'd love to talk to you. And if you are looking to buy or sell a home, get in contact with me. I've got one of the best teams in Southern California. I would love to connect you with a fantastic agent in your area. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.